Welcome to American History Notes, where I read from things I've learned about American history, notes I've made. I hope that some of these things might interest you, a wide variety of topics, so it's going to interest somebody, and that you'll dig deeper into them and find more out about them. So I'm going to begin. We're talking about science and technology. We're going to do the whole sweep of American history. These are things I haven't discussed before. So this is American history. By mentioning someone in relation to an invention, I'm not stating that he is the inventor necessarily. I'm merely pointing out the first American use of an invention. On the other hand, I will mention Americans who invented things. The very first thing I learned about science in American history was that in 1612, through advice from Native Americans, colonists learned to grow and cure tobacco on a large scale and use it as a prime export commodity to England. Over 1,500 pounds per acre would be grown in the James River Valley of Virginia. The Indians would be observed to keep wounds clean, and in clashes with colonists over time, it's observed that this works to the benefit of the wounded. They also isolated the wounded for treatment, while wounded colonials were kept together where they died of hospital-like infections and infirmaries. Indian women used quinine, sassafras, datura, ipecac, cascara, and witch hazel to treat minor illnesses and injuries. All of these substances will become part of American medical pharmacopoeia. The next mention I found of scientific and technological innovations in the English colonies is the note that iron production was flourishing in the Massachusetts colony, developed by the son of the colony's first governor, John Winthrop Jr., by 1638. By 1651, the practice of hunting for whales or whaling was popularized in that colony by New Bedford developer Joseph Russell. The innovative New Englanders built the first entirely brick house in 1678 in Boston, whereas before, bricks were only used for ovens and fireplaces in America. In 1613, the first schooner is built in Massachusetts by Scottish-American captain Andrew Robinson. Schooners will become important in the American fishing industry. Boston preacher Cotton Mather in 1716 noted that his slaves practiced smallpox inoculation from Africa by applying serum from the pustule of an infected person into an incision made on a healthy person. In 1718, potatoes were introduced to Boston. Wine grapes were first planted in California in 1769, while it was under Spanish dominion. The Shakers, a religious sect from England, settled in the colonies in 1774 thereabouts, and among their accomplishments will be the breeding of the Poland China hog, a hybrid of the U.S. domestic hog and the big China hog. This hardy and versatile oinker bee will become a staple of U.S. livestock. Hereford cattle are imported here in 1817 for the first time and will become the most popular cattle in the western United States. An automated flour mill was created in 1780, developed by merchant Oliver Evans. It operated a water-powered conveyor belt. He will automate the process of grinding grain and sifting flour in 1787 to make it simpler and shortening the time to make bread. 3 years later, engineer Samuel Slater opens the first working U.S. cotton mill. Along with ironmaster David Wilkinson, he will build a mill from plans used for similar plants in England. This is the beginning of the Industrial Revolution in the United States. In 1793, Eli Whitney will invent the cotton gin, a cylindrical machine that quickly separates cotton fiber from seeds, a job that is slow and tedious by hand. The new invention, unfortunately, increases the need for slaves in the South to pick the cotton to be processed by the new gin. Any hope of slavery eventually being abandoned peacefully is gone. 5 years later, Whitney refines mass production through the development of jigs, metal patterns that allow for consistent duplication of parts. This development is the key to the American system of mass production. In 1680, entomologist and Virginia resident John Bannister classifies 52 American insect species. He will write a natural history of Virginia. So we'll stop there for today, and I hope that you'll take these names and run with them and just go looking and digging and finding things out. Thank you very much for listening today. Bye.